can pause that for a brief moment. Before I get into today's case, I need to address something real quick. My last video, the one about the woman who live streamed the essay of the 4-year old, can't say that phrase just yet. It's a tad bit too early in the video. Well, that video didn't move the way I think it should have because apparently when you talk about certain crimes on YouTube, the algorithm suddenly gets really selective about what it wants people to see. And I think I may have started to see, maybe a little pattern, especially in the sector of YouTube I'm in. I could be wrong. I can definitely be wrong. Well, that video at the time of me recording this is currently sitting at 14 views, not 1,400, a 1 and a 4. 14. Ouch. Ironically, it went up from 5. That's a singular number, 5. Because when I first recorded it, it was only sitting right there at 5. Jesus Christ. More on on me re-recording stuff later. But am I mad about that? Not even close. Absolutely not. As I've stated multiple times, I am a very small channel. I never expect thousands of views, anything close. But I am ashamed. See, when I talk about the deaths of children, views more so, come in, engagement usually happens. But when I talk about the essay of a child, especially when it's recorded, especially when the perpetrator is a woman, and especially when this story got zero notoriety, um, I don't think even Law and Crime Network touched this story. I can be wrong, but I don't think Law and Crime even touched this. Silence, crickets. So I'm kind of ashamed. It's hurtful, but I'm ashamed. Ashamed of myself in a way that I really can't explain truthfully. But I'm ashamed of my friends who say they're subbed, who say they got their notifications on, who say they're watching, but really not. I'm ashamed of YouTube, but that in and of itself really isn't surprising in no way, shape, or form. It's weird. It's funny how I go from death to essay and it's straight up silence. It's like some stories are considered tragic and others are considered to be too uncomfortable to even be acknowledged. And that should scare the hell out of everybody. Because if we only amplify certain forms of harm to children and quietly bury others, then we're not protecting children as a whole. We're only managing the optics. So if that last video didn't reach you, understand this. That doesn't mean it wasn't important. It means it was an inconvenience for YouTube to just simply put in your algorithm. And that's why I do what I do. Because when abuse gets ignored based on who did it or what kind of abuse it was, that's not justice. That's the hypocrisy right there. Clear as day. And over here, we call that out. I make them bathe in it, you know? So I just want to point that out to you guys. Back to the show. Carry on. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to Black Hypocrisy, where your feelings don't matter but the children does. I'm your childish host with the least, the Prince of Petty. Man, there's stories that make you angry, there's stories that make you sad. Then there's stories like this that make you question a lot of stuff. Because no matter what side you're on, there's a 3-year-old that's deceased. Before the hashtags, before the think pieces, before people pick sides like it's the playoffs, a toddler is gone, a father is dead, a mother's life is completely shattered. 2 different families are missing members and now have to plan 2 separate funerals. And the truth, everybody failed this child before the first shot was even fired. The investigation, I think, is still ongoing, but the body cam is out. There was supposed to be a press conference about a mother and her attorney that never came to be for some apparent reason. Put a pin in that. But I'm here. You're here. We're going to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Black Hypocrisy. Let's get it.
I keep falling into the same patterns, and honestly, it's just exhausting.
And where do you feel that exhaustion?
To try to save that child's life, and the father of that child chose otherwise and shot and killed his own child. Pure evil.
Police holding that press conference today, making body camera footage of the 3rd officer-involved shooting available to the public. Good evening, I'm Marie Mortera. We are now seeing what led up to the deadly shooting. Tonight, our James King also sits down with a former Metro lieutenant to walk us through those tense moments and a warning. The video shows when police encounter the armed suspect holding his 3-year-old child.
Newly released body cam footage from the latest Metro Police Department shooting. 28-year-old Quinton Baker and 3-year-old Kentre dead as a result.
Stop right there! Stop!
Police say when officers arrived on scene, a woman now identified as Renika Pate telling the police the reason she called.
He has a gun. He said that if you guys come up there, he is going to kill the baby. He has a gun. He said that if you guys come up there, he is going to kill the baby and me. He has a gun. He said he has a gun. He said that if you guys come up there, he is going to kill the baby and me.
Moments later, Baker can be seen making his way towards officers holding their son with a gun pointed at his chest.
Hey, you need to put that down, man.
Look, I'm trying to find a mom. I'm gonna shoot myself.
Hey, take the shot.
You could hear them giving him orders. You could hear them challenging him.
We sat down with former Metro Police Lieutenant Randy Sutton as he watched the events leading up to the shooting unfold to get his perspective on how the situation was handled.
A suspect show up with a firearm. I guess, how quickly does that almost automatically escalate what's happening in terms of response?
Made the threat that he was going to kill the child and have the police kill him, and that's exactly what happened. These officers did exactly what they should have done. They tried everything to save that child.
Officers can't allow a guy with a gun pointed at a child to continue to advance and put more people in jeopardy, more people in harm's way. That can't happen.
Police saying that the child was shot 3 times, twice from the gun of Baker and once in the leg. Police saying it's undetermined right now where the 3rd round came from.
When we talk about ballistics and stuff like that, will we be able to know, I guess, exactly where those bullets went down the line?
At the end of the day, when the all of the evidence is collected, they will make a determination of where each of those officers' rounds wound up. And so when the coroner does his autopsies on both the child and the suspect, they will look at the injuries received by both and then match up which rounds did what.
Reporting in Las Vegas, James King for News 3.
A 3-year-old boy and his father are dead tonight following a shooting involving police. Police say the father was holding the child hostage, which led to that shooting at an apartment complex on Maryland near Wigwam. The incident escalated to the father shooting the child as officers fired at the dad, they say simultaneously. However, the mother of the 3-year-old boy says the police account of what happened is not true. And tonight there are new questions around domestic violence and police response. Our Operation Crime and Justice investigative reporter Kristen Drummond joins us live on Maryland Parkway by Wigwam with those concerns tonight. Kristen?
Dana, the 3-year-old, unfortunately, is a bystander in this situation. And how he died will likely become a lot more clear at the end of this week when Metro Police released the body camera video from the shooting that happened here around 1:30 today in the morning. Now, we do know that the mother, who I spoke with earlier, she's reflecting on not only her son's life, but also making a very serious allegation about Metro Police about how her son died. Meanwhile, we are going in depth into domestic violence.
He was literally the light in my world.
A light dimmed too soon, causing heartbreak for Renika Pate.
I witnessed my son pass away. So, in front of my eyes.
Pate identifying her son as 3-year-old Kentre Baker. Police say Baker's father, identified by Pate to News 3 as Quinton Baker, shot and killed him as officers opened fire simultaneously during a confrontation at the Parkside Villas around 1:20 in the morning. The response following a call about domestic violence.
I called the police officers to my residence because of a domestic dispute. It escalated and turned into what seemed like a hostage situation.
The suspect exited the residence while pointing a firearm at the juvenile, holding that juvenile hostage. Officers issued verbal commands to the suspect to peacefully surrender, and the suspect refused to comply.
Kentre caught in between and losing his life.
While technically this poor child is a bystander, the fact of the matter is that is power and control at its most lethal.
Liz Ortenberger with Safe Nest, an organization supporting survivors of domestic and sexual violence in Clark County. She says the action of holding the child hostage can be intended to cause emotional distress.
The psychological elements of an abusive partner taking that child and then murdering that child, right? There is no deeper way to hurt a mom than to take and murder their child.
Data shows Metro Police ending last year with 23 murders related to domestic violence, up from the 22 reported the year prior, but still down from the 34 in 2023. Police report the most killings were related to domestic violence in 2025.
A domestic violence 911 call and a domestic violence perpetrator as a category are the #1 murderers of police. Right. So heightened state, right? I already know it's a DV call. I already know, right, that this is a particularly precarious situation for everybody involved, including law enforcement, to be murdered.
A situation leaving questions now about the response.
I told the police officers that the person was very agitated and that if they could do anything to calm or de-escalate the situation without any lethal force, because he did have my son in his possession.
As the family seeks answers to who killed Kentre.
We will ask for body cam footage because I know what I saw and I know how they went around. He did not have a weapon. He was carrying my son, walking towards the officers. All, I want to say 7 or 8 officers had their weapons fully drawn. They were commanding him to stop but he was not. He was not armed, and he had my son, so he didn't stop, and that's when the officers all opened fire.
So after Pate made that statement, I sent a follow-up email to Metro Police asking if it's at all possible that one of their bullets could have hit Kentre. No response at this time. But Metro Police do accuse Quinton of firing a gun before officers even arrived at around 1:30 here this morning. Dana?
We just heard the mom say she witnessed the shooting of her 3-year-old son. Where was she at the time?
So she's telling us that she was actually in a Metro Patrol car at the time of this whole situation unfolding. Now, again, we still don't know how many times Kentre may have been shot. Metro Police saying that they realized he was shot after they went to go render aid following the shooting, and that he was taken to the hospital where he died. Dana?
Yeah, a lot of questions about this case tonight. How many officers opened fire? How many shots were fired? And which bullet actually hit Kentre? We're going to find out all those answers maybe as soon as this week, plus the body cam video as well.
We will ask for body cam footage because I know what I saw and I know how they went around. He did not have a weapon. He was carrying my son, walking towards the officers. All, I want to say 7 or 8 officers had their weapons fully drawn. They were commanding him to stop because I know what I saw and I know he did not have a weapon. Because I know what I saw and I know how they went around. He did not have a weapon. He was carrying my son, walking towards the officer. We will ask for body cam footage because I know what I saw and I know how they went around. He did not have a weapon.
News 3 starts now with breaking news.
Metro Police releasing new body camera footage of the shooting that killed 3-year-old Kentre Baker. Good evening, I'm Marie Mortera.
And I'm Dana Wagner. That footage coming out just about 2 hours ago. Police say the child's father shot him twice as they fired their guns during this hostage situation. Our Kristen Drummond joins us live from Metro headquarters. You were inside the room during that news briefing. I got to tell you, we showed it live on the air. It was tough to watch, Kristen.
It certainly was. Those videos released are very emotional. Metro Police confirming 2 police officers fired their gun during that situation, as well as Kentre Baker's father, who is identified as Quinton Baker, 28 years old. They're saying he fired at least 7 rounds during this entire situation. And as a warning, the video you are about to watch can be very emotional and difficult to see.
Stop! Stop right there! Stop! He got a gun to the chest? Hey, gun! Move back. You move back because he doesn't have sight on. Hey, you need to put that down, man. I'm trying to call the mom. I'm gonna shoot myself. Hey, take this shot.
So as you see there, Quinton Baker coming down that walkway with his child Kentre in his arms. Metro Police sharing those 2 body camera videos today, along with another one showing their response of trying to help Kentre get to an ambulance, as well as the response with his mother when they initially arrived. Now you can hear an officer command to take the shot, and that's after Baker states, "I'm trying to find the mom. I'm going to shoot myself." Police say Baker was shot 4 times. The child, as I mentioned, Kentre, was shot 3 times. 2 bullets from his father's gun, according to police, and 1 from that is unknown at this moment in time that did hit his leg. They are continuing their investigation to see who fired that bullet. But Metro Police say Baker fired 7 rounds during the situation. Police did respond to those apartments, Parkside Villas, around 1:20 in the morning on South Maryland Parkway about a domestic dispute. The mother of the child informed police Baker threatened to kill her and their son if he saw officers. Now, body camera video did show those tense moments when she was informing them of that information. And when Baker came outside the unit with Kentre, police gave commands to stop, but as you noticed, he kept walking toward officers. And I asked why he wasn't allowed to find the child's mother before officers shot.
He said, "I'm going to kill myself. I'm looking for the mother." So what that would state with all of his intentions is he's trying to fulfill what he already said that he was going to do and wanted her to witness this. But officers can't allow a guy with a gun pointed at a child to continue to advance and put more people in jeopardy, more people in harm's way. That can't happen. So this is the choice that the officers were confronted with.
So these are decisions made in split seconds. Now, I do know that the child's mother, Reneka Pate, she did watch the video earlier today. She has since lawyered up, and we are anticipating her attorney to provide a press conference to us next week following this situation. Reporting live outside of Metro headquarters, I'm Kristen Drummond, News 3.
So more to come from this case, but just heartbreaking details revealed today. Kristen, thank you for your continued reporting here.
We've not heard the last of this for sure. And I know Kristen will stay on top of it for us. Meanwhile,
Reassuring words there from a Metro police officer running with a child in his arms towards a waiting ambulance after a 3-year-old is shot multiple times by his own father. This happened early Tuesday morning at an apartment complex on Maryland Parkway near Wigwam, and Kim is here with the latest. Kim?
Tom, today Metro released the 911 calls that brought them to the apartment complex and videos from the officers' body cameras of the hostage situation that ended with the death of the toddler and his father.
He's threatening to kill me and my son. I'm outside. He literally beat me. Oh my God, please. Please do nothing to my baby. He just tried to kill me. He's gonna hurt my baby.
Officers arrived and found the 911 caller outside.
He has a gun. He said that if you guys come up there, he is going to kill the baby and me.
They learned the suspect, now holding his toddler son hostage in an apartment, had already fired his gun twice at a vehicle in the parking lot. As officers began strategizing,
I move on the stairs. Move on the stairs. He's holding the kid.
The suspect emerged, holding this Glock handgun to his son's chest. Video Fox 5 is choosing not to show.
Hey! Show me your hands!
The suspect, Quinton Baker, then quickly advanced on officers.
He stopped and said he wanted to see the child's mom and he was going to kill himself. Because of the immediate threat to the child, officers discharged their firearm. Simultaneously, Baker discharged his firearm 5 times.
The child, Kentre Baker, was shot 3 times.
That the child was struck in the head by a close contact gunshot wound when the suspect discharged his weapon.
Sorry, buddy. It's okay.
An officer picked up the boy and ran the length of 3 football fields to an ambulance waiting outside the apartment complex.
Hey, open the gate!
Despite all efforts to save Kentre, the 3-year-old died at the hospital. His father, shot 4 times, died at the scene.
The suspect's intent was clearly stated by him to the mother several times that he was going to kill that child and then kill himself. In this situation, the officers had milliseconds to make a decision. They made a choice to try to save that child's life, and the father of that child chose otherwise and shot and killed his own child. Pure evil.
And according to police, the father shot the 3-year-old at least twice. A 3rd round struck the child in the leg, but it is not clear at this point in the investigation who fired that shot. The mother of the boy spoke with Fox 5 and disputes police accounts of what happened.
One round the suspect fired ricocheted and struck an officer on the top of his boot, leaving him with a cut.
Day now since Metro Police released the video of a shooting that resulted in the death of a 3-year-old. Officers say Quinton Baker shot and killed his son during this exchange. Now, with some people criticizing the actions, though, of those first responders. 8 News Now reporter Ryan Tismaneski met with a retired officer to hear his thoughts.
Ashton Pack served in law enforcement for more than 2 decades, retiring from Metro Police 4.5 years ago. Despite the years of experience, watching this body cam video is a struggle.
Stop! Stop right there!
It's just a horrific situation. My heart breaks for that child and the terror that child was feeling in the last moments of his life. That father to do that, he holds 100% of the responsibility.
When watching the video, Pack mentions sympathetic reflex on the child's father, a term used for muscle spasms after being shot, resulting in pulling a gun's trigger.
We've seen people been able to squeeze off multiple rounds in the last seconds of the brain being active, still having enough oxygen and blood in it.
He says unless an officer's shot is perfectly placed, sympathetic reflex is highly likely. Pack saying there's nothing else officers could do. This is a copy of Metro Police's use of force policy. It describes the rules and steps that responders need to follow when deciding to use their guns. Pack says these officers followed it to a T.
This man met every single element. He had the ability, he had the opportunity. It was imminent jeopardy, and the preclusion was checked. There was really nothing else they could have done. All 4 of those boxes are your elements to deadly force.
And he stands by it, saying non-deadly force like a taser was not an option.
Critics are always going to be out there. They're in abundance online. And if they think they could do better, they should put their application in and see if they can, because most of them wouldn't even qualify for an unarmed guard job.
Now, Pack also says he hopes the officers who responded to the shooting get the help that they need, with the shooting being a very traumatic experience for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following is the 911 call. Listener discretion, please be advised. The following is the 911 call. Listener discretion, please be advised.
Just assaulted my friend. Then he tried to take my son. And we literally just got into a physical altercation. He's trying to take my son now.
Okay, are you with him right now?
Yes, but he's not in his right mind. He's going to leave. He's trying to take my son.
Is he going to leave on foot or in a vehicle?
He's in a Ford. Ow! Stop!
What's happening?
He has my son! He's threatening to kill me and my son. He's crazy.
Where is your son?
He's in the house with him.
Does he have a gun?
Yes.
A couple were out here screaming and arguing with each other.
Okay.
Eventually, a man came out with a gun and a kid.
Okay.
He threw the kid in a blue Ford. The blue Ford is blue with a red fender. The black man. And then he threw a little boy in there, a little girl, I don't know, 2 or 3 years old. He threw him in the passenger seat and peeled out of here. But before he peeled out of here, he took a shot at the white BMW with a gun.
There's gunshots outside in the complex right now, like literally right outside my window.
All right, let's get the facts straight before y'all emotions hijack reality. Now, I waited to put this out. Actually, I recorded this, and I read that the mom, Renika Pate, stated she was going to do a press conference. I scrapped that previous recording. A week later, of course, there's no press conference. So here we are. Let's get into it. Again. So the police, they didn't show up at random. They responded to a domestic violence call. Domestic violence, meaning they were acknowledging the possibility of a domestic abuser, an alleged violent individual. Not a noise complaint because a Karen thought some music was too loud. Not a welfare check. A violent domestic incident involving a man who allegedly assaulted multiple people, fired a gun in the parking lot, threatened to kill the mother, and threatened to kill the child. And said out loud, if they come up these stairs, I'm killing the child and then myself. And that's documented. Or that's what's documented in the articles per the documents they came from, whatever they pish posh. And the mother, of course, she goes on the news and says something different, but it's not verbatim. But nonetheless, that's what's said. He's going to kill himself. He's going to kill the child. He's going to kill himself. When officers arrive, the danger was there. The danger was ready, as you saw in the video, fully armed. Even though Renika Pate, the child's mother, stood firm on what she saw. Quinton Baker was unarmed. He didn't have a gun. The body cam footage shows something completely different, unless I'm blind and stupid. But as the police arrived, the situation was already escalating at that particular point in time. The police, the news, and others, they keep saying that he was holding his son. That kind of bothers me because I feel like words mean things. So, no, he was holding a hostage. You don't treat your son like that. The body cam shows him exiting the apartment. Hostage in one arm, gun in the other hand. Said gun pointed at the child's chest. Of course, he was refusing commands while he was advancing upon the police. In that moment, the child wasn't being protected in no definition of the term. He was being used. The child was being weaponized. He was being utilized. And let's not overlook this fool, Quinton Baker. He fired his gun first. He fired. At least 2 of the fatal wounds to that child came from his father's gun. And I use that term father in this story very loosely. That doesn't make the outcome any easier, but it makes the reality as clear as Mr. Clean's bald head. Looking at this, everybody suddenly want to become a tactical expert, but only after the fact. Why didn't they de-escalate? How could they fire? They should have done something else. Well, allow me to turn into body cam watcher petty for a brief moment. Explain to me how you de-escalate a man who's already assaulted 2 people, already fired a shot or 2 prior, already threatened to murder, and is advancing upon police with a gun pointed at a toddler. Explain the miracle solution that works in that situation within milliseconds. I'll wait. Exactly. Outside, just talking to this nigga, which they were already doing, you can't de-escalate something like that. A sniper blowing his head off with a 50 cal couldn't even save that situation. So I agree with the gentleman in the video, to my dismay. Yes, there is a such thing as reflexes. With his finger on the trigger, getting shot, even in his kneecap, even in his face, would have triggered a reflex, and the little boy more than likely would have been shot and killed anyway. You couldn't stop that. And from what I watched, as I said, Quinton shot first. The police, from what I watched, they crossed every T, they dotted every I. They did everything they could. And here's the part people don't want to talk about. This didn't fail at the point of the trigger. It failed long before police arrived. Where was the intervention when threats became a pattern? This wasn't his first time threatening someone like this, trust me. A father, again, termed used loosely, doesn't just walk up on police with a gun pointed at his own kid, wanting to kill himself and saying it out loud, and then asking where the mom is. Where were the protection orders? Nothing he did from the past was reported. So prior to what he did that night, He has a clean slate with the mother of that child? Right. Where was the child's removal when instability was clear as day? Again, he's never done anything like this before. Really? This was never threatened or alluded to or anything along those lines prior to this. See, the system is reactive, not preventative. It waits until violence peaks, and then it asks the impossible questions. And the community plays along and acts like nothing's happening. Then the child ultimately pays the price. Then the adults argue, egos clash, the battles for control escalate. The children usually become leverage and pawns in a sick game of who has more on the other person, or they become bargaining chips or collateral damage, like in this case, or even used as human shields, literally in this case. Kentre didn't die because of policy, for once. Shocker. He died because of adults literally weaponizing him. That's the part nobody wants to own up to, and no one is going to own up to. As I said multiple times before in the past, society protects children in theory. It's a myth that people believe in protecting children, or at least that's what it seems like to me. That's why family court is a scam. The courts, DCF, don't care for families. CPS, can't protect siblings. They do the bare minimum. That bare minimum counts for something, at the very least. They make do. They make sure things are put in place for a reason. Things have to be reported. If things are not reported, then my definition of bare minimum can't be done at all. Thus, the child can't be protected at all in the slightest. Whether it be full-blown restraining orders, temporary restraining orders, supervised visitation, just overall documentation. Various different things can be put in place to help protect the child. But it seems as if you guys, speaking in general, you guys don't want those things to be put in place to protect children. People in society would rather wait until the end is nigh, the end is near. Y'all wait till that child is dead and gone until y'all decide to speak up. Y'all see the signs of danger and say nothing. Let's talk about little Pablo Golden I spoke about last month. The mother admitted to abuse from the father. She waited until the father set that little infant in the street and rolled over his skull for her to be able to sit down and tell the police in an interview that he whooped her ass. But had she did that before, had she told the courts, had she told DCF, had she told CPS, little Pablo would probably still be here today. As a person who dabbles in true crime religiously, there were warning signs. They were just ignored. I don't care what anyone says. This, with Kentre Baker, this was seen coming. In this specific case, men don't just lose it like that. That's weird. Even I never seen that before. People, men and women, people normally have a track record before they snap like he did. Like I saw in that body cam. Like we all saw. The news had nothing to say. The child's mother said nothing. I'm kind of lost in this. I wish there was something. But we had that press conference coming, but that didn't happen. Because the courts can't protect a child from a parent the courts don't know the child needs protection from. After seeing what I saw in that body cam, I'm personally led to believe this guy was nuts. I've seen a multitude of people in danger only for it to come out later that the nigga had a screw or two loose. The nigga was a few fries short of a Happy Meal. The nigga was missing his toy in the Happy Meal or something. Now, the mom, she might not have loose lips in this case, but Buddy was hell bent. Buddy had that thing locked and loaded. He even shot twice into that little boy. First, apparently. He did shit that was never reported. We may never know. The courts were never able to get involved to protect that little boy. People don't just snap like that and that bad overnight. That shit in that body cam, that shit takes time. That wasn't new. The suicide talk, the gun to the child, using the child as a shield, that level of snapping doesn't come by just being upset. That's a level of snapping that comes over a period of time of being upset with life, situations, and bad circumstances. And I could be fully wrong. He could have just snapped overnight. That could have very well been his first time. I'm just speaking from experience, from things that I've seen. We as a society lost a 3-year-old little boy behind nonsense. For what? Because she didn't want to talk to this nigga? Because she was getting her back beat out? Because she was getting some drinks? Hell, she was asleep? Bro, it's not that serious. We lost a 3-year-old because a grown-ass man lost it. This brings up two topics: child abuse and men's mental health. Bro, Quinton Baker, you could have just got some help. Talk to somebody. You ain't gotta be out here looking like you got it like that. Looking as if you can handle the weight of the world. Big homie, I'll be the first to tell you, we can't. But then again, I'm talking to dirt at this point because you made the choice to not love your son enough to keep him out of adult scenarios. If you were going to kill yourself, do it and leave him out of it. Go jump your ass off a cliff. There's plenty of those around Vegas. They would have never found your body. That body cam has zero reason to even exist. But you wanted an audience and to take somebody with you. And that little boy, Kentre, had to pay that price. And if that's not a bitch move, I don't know what is. See, we love children after they die. After. We don't protect children while they're here, while they need us, while they need adults. That's a problem in and of itself. We build shrines and all of that after the fact. We cry online after the fact. We scream at cameras for attention after the fact. But where's that energy before a child is used as a fucking meat shield? Police didn't know Kentre Baker. The system didn't use that baby as leverage. An adult did. Police didn't weaponize that baby. An adult did. Police didn't put that child in danger. An adult did. And pretending anything otherwise doesn't protect kids. It just protects narratives. See, the problem is we demand accountability after funerals, but stay silent when warning signs is just a slapping you in your face. We excuse disgusting adults because of titles like father. We excuse disgusting adults because of titles like mother. We as a society ignore instability until it blows up in our faces. Children don't care about no damn ideology. They care about surviving. They care about playing in the love of their parents, making friends. Going home telling mom and dad about the smiley face they got on their classwork. Going home telling mom and dad about the horrible thing they drew we as parents have to call pretty or amazing. And Kentre deserved that chance to enjoy those things. But it was taken from him because of selfishness. And one adult who clearly needed help and was clearly ignored. Attorney, whatever the hell his name is, the mom's attorney, said, "We'll hold a press conference at a later date." The mother gets on the news and says, "Next week." I waited. I had already had this episode recorded. I chose to re-record it because I assumed that my thoughts and feelings might change based on what would come out during that press conference. I didn't post. I sat on it. Next week came. Next week went. We're now past that. No press conference. No public legal breakdown. No contradiction of the footage. No explanation of anything that led to this. And when strong public claims are made, especially claims that contradict video evidence, the public expects follow through. Silence creates questions. That's not an attack on the mother and her family. That's just the reality. Because understand this, ladies and gentlemen, parts of that 911 call were left out. If you watched all my videos that I played prior to me talking, the news played one portion. I played it all. They said, the news, they said he fired shots in the parking lot. Yeah, he did. But they didn't tell you it was at a specific car, a white BMW. Ladies and gentlemen, that matters. There was a faint male voice in the background cussing. That matters. Something escalated that situation beyond a normal argument. And we still don't have the full story of what set Quinton Baker off that night. But see, we wouldn't know any of that for sure because there was no press conference. Unless they do it the day I drop this video, in which I'm going to be pissed. But I do have questions. How did you make it out of the apartment and the baby didn't? That's numero uno. That's the $1 million question. I don't care if a 3-alarm fire breaks out at my house. The only person the firefighters need to go in my house and save is going to be me. Kids getting out that thing. Wife getting out that thing. I might be passed out or something. Hell, the fire department might not even need to save me. I know how to take a twin mattress and bust through a window or something. Hell, look, kids getting out. End of the day. Point blank period. My next question is, were y'all together or not? Were y'all a couple or not? Because things aren't necessarily adding up to me. Which leads to my next batch of questions. Hold on. Hear me out. Why was a friend present during a possible child exchange at 1 a.m.? The 911 call said he assaulted your friend. What were you doing at the apartment with a friend at 1 a.m.? In the background, sounded like a dude. If he's driving off, the microphone wouldn't have been able to pick him up. There's no report of a witness outside the other 2 911 calls, so there's no one near you other than that friend. Sounded like a dude. So why are you there with this dude? Or were you just coming home late And Quinton Baker thought your Uber driver was just smashing. Huh? I have a multitude of questions and scenarios. Why was there another male voice audible in the background? Like, who was this cat? What role does he play? Did you get back in the car with this person? Why was he even audible in the background? Like, why were you so close to the point to where he was even heard? Because the parking lot was empty, except for y'all. Otherwise, it would have been more than just 2 witnesses. And there would have been a lot of social media videos of this, not just the body cam. Why was that specific car targeted? The white BMW. Why did it escalate to shooting at that vehicle? See, and let's say this was Quinton Baker's first time ever crashing out. Let's just say this was his first time ever crashing out. What made Quinton crash out like that? Who is this friend Quinton shot at? What part does she, or apparently he, play in this? Let's go through some possible explanations. It could have been an Uber driver. Could have been a friend helping her leave a domestic situation. Could have been a dude just coming to help pick her up from the house with the baby or something. See? Could have been a multitude of things. Or they could have been separated. They can be broken up, and it could have been a jealousy issue, which is why I asked if they were even together. It could have been a mental instability situation, which we pretty much know at this point. It could have been substance abuse. It could have been something in regards to a prior domestic history. These are things that press conference would have or could have cleared up. But I'm just going off the information that's out there. But from what we have, we know mom's made it out and the kid didn't. Quinton apparently assaulted her and some other person, shot at this other person's car. Quinton was highly suicidal, and that we may never actually know what went down prior because dead people can't talk and there's more than just her side to a story. You see, Renika Pate, you called 911. You warned them. You said he wasn't right in the head. You hit that spot on. And then on camera to the news, you said he wasn't armed. Lie detector told us all that was a lie. Both statements can't exist in the same reality without tension. If you were protecting his name, grief makes people do that. If you genuinely believed he wasn't armed, shock makes people misperceive. But once the footage dropped, clarity replaced speculation. And the silence you gave afterward, that's what people noticed. I know that because I noticed it. And let me say this. If you want justice, demand prevention. If you want change, demand intervention. If you want fewer dead children, stop romanticizing dangerous adults. Because a 3-year-old doesn't care about sides. A 3-year-old doesn't care about who you're sleeping with. A 3-year-old doesn't care who you love to be around. A 3-year-old doesn't care about how you feel. 3-year-olds simply care about living and smiling. Despite what these 2 had going on, yet this 3-year-old was carried out in front of a bunch of guns at his tender age, having zero idea of what could happen, let alone what was about to happen, and lost his life and ended up in a fucking body bag. He was never given a chance. 3 years to live for a child? That ain't shit. This here was a sad, sad case, bro. 2 families hurting. 2 families have to bury sons. 1 child not celebrating his 4th birthday. And we got 1 bitch not having to serve time for a decision he made and life he got lost to the ether. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Black Hypocrisy. Love on your children. And watch who the hell you leave them with and have around them. Hopefully, that press conference come out. Hopefully, not the same day this video comes out. But if it does, I will revisit this story. Maybe my talking points will change. Maybe they'll stay the same. But I definitely will revisit this story, provided that press conference comes out. Because depending on what she says, that's something that's going to need to be touched on. I'm the Prince of Petty. I'll holler at y'all. Y'all be cool.
Bankai. 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 I just been hustling my hoes. I just been dripping my hoes. This whole nother level shot. I got these hoes on their toes.